friends. Okay, so today for our song, we are going to talk about I'm a Child of God. Now, I want you to know that I got a pretty darn good response for this one. Sorry. I need to figure out a way to have it so that my face is in the middle instead of all that. But that's not happening right now. Anyway, okay, so our song this week is I'm a Child of God. And I asked about it on Instagram and got a pretty good response. But first, before I tell you about what people said, I think it's funny that I was doing this song. I'd already planned on doing this song this week. Technically, it was supposed to be last week, but it's summer and my brain is gone. I never know what day of the week it is or anything. But for Come Follow Me, I listened to this podcast called Come Follow Me for Us, and it's my favorite. And I had to laugh because she mentions I'm a Child of God this week, and she tells the story of its writing, all this exactly thing that I was going to tell you. So I do not mean to copy her. That was not my intention. So when she told the story, I was like, hey, hold on. That's what I'm talking about this week. Anyway, so first I'll tell you a little bit about the song, and then I'll tell you the stories that people shared and my story about it, because I have one too. And while I am talking, you won't see my face the whole time because I have 3 different versions of this in the shop. So I'll put them all 3 so you can see them. But we'll talk about them also. Anyway, so it was written by Naomi Randall and the music was written by Mildred Petit. But pretty much they're both on the primary board. And there was a big primary conference or something, presentation coming up, and so Naomi was asked to write it, a primary general conference program. So she was asked to write it, and she talked to the other lady on the phone. They're like, okay, well, we'll see what we can come up with. Well, she said a prayer that night, and she was like, okay, Heavenly Father, I need to write this song about teaching children. I need your help. Well, as we know what happens when you ask for inspiration, Heavenly Father did help her, and she woke up at 2 a.m. and wrote down, she knew all of it. She wrote down the lines to the song for all 3 verses and the chorus. And then she went back to bed and she thanked Heavenly Father for his help. And then she sent it the lyrics were approved the next day and sent to Mildred Petit, who was within a week that she'd written the music and sent it back already. So it came together super quickly, and then they sang it and people started to love it, but President Kimball, I believe? Yes, Spencer W. Kimball heard it, and he's like, hey, I really like that, but there's one problem, and it's the original lyrics were, teach me all that I must know, and President Kimball said it's not enough to know anymore. You have to do. So they changed the words from know to do, and then it became favorites. And then since then, a 4th verse has been added, but it's not currently in anything. It'll be interesting to see if it's in the new hymn book. I'll bet it will be. When the primary kids sing it, I cry a little bit because it's a really good verse. So the last verse says, I'm a child of God, his promises are sure, celestial glory shall be mine, if I can but endure. And sometime this week, my daughter's going to make a music video. Not a music video, we're not that cool yet, we don't know how to do things like that. Although, Xander, my 15-year-old, is taking video production next year. I wonder if he'll learn how to do music videos. That would be so cool! Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Robin, you're not allowed to get excited, you have a million things. Okay, so let's talk about how this song has inspired people or helped people. I asked on Instagram, and I'm going to read people's responses. My friend Allison said that she was at a ward conference, and the primary president was talking, and I've heard this song a million times, but I've always sung it from my perspective as being a child of God. She turned it into the children looking to the adults and singing it, lead me, guide me. When you hear it from the perspective of a little child pleading, it takes on a whole different meaning. For real, right? All right, my friend Christy said, I am a child of God. Wow, the memories. This was the first song I really learned in primary. The first one that I could sing from memory, and I knew what it meant. But the memory I want to share is high school. I hadn't been yet diagnosed with depression, but life was tough. Mom had had a breakdown. Dad couldn't work at the time. I was working and going to school and trying to find some happiness in life by being in music. It was my lifesaver. I had just had a fight with my dad, and I felt like I didn't deserve to even take up space. I felt like nothing. I tried holding all that emotion inside. But halfway through the day, I had seminary. The song that we sang was I'm a Child of God. I couldn't even get through the first words. Tears came pouring down my face. I sat in the back because, again, I felt useless and unlovable and undeserving of anything closer to the teacher. No, closer to... Yes, oh, because that's where she was sitting, in the back. Got it. But being the awesome teacher that he was, he quietly walked to the back of the room, handed me the box of tissues, and didn't say anything as I quietly left the room. I went to the restroom, and for the first time in a long time, I knelt to pray. I know that's a weird place to kneel and pray, but I was in a stall, and I needed to do this. I knelt and very quietly asked if it was true. Was I truly a child, a daughter of God? The feelings and things that I felt and learned that day, they are truly sacred to me. And this song serves as a reminder to me every time I hear it that yes, me, I, as unworthy, as unimportant, as horrible as I feel about myself, me, I am a child of God. I know the song was divinely inspired. It had to have been. How many of us sing it to our little ones trying to calm them or sing them to sleep? I know I have, and immediately they have stopped fussing and started listening to the music. They know, and so should we. I'm glad you mentioned that, because also I was going to tell you that my dad said he used to sing to us. He used to joke that either we liked the song enough to go to sleep or we hated his singing enough to go to sleep. Anyway, so I really appreciate that post. That really moved me. That depression is not something that I've had to struggle with very much personally, but my husband does, and so being, I don't know, it's beautiful to read the stories of others who are going through what my husband's going through. So, anyway. My friend from Nove Clothing says, I remember singing at my grandma's funeral with all the grands and great-grands there. And my friend Carrie Mack said, it's the anthem for the foundation of my faith. And I love that because I had never really looked at songs as being doctrine until the song Family is of God. When I was in the primary presidency, we were asked to sing that one for a primary program that year. And at first, when I first heard it, it didn't click with me, but I also don't like breaking from tradition. So I rarely like new songs the first time I hear them because they're new and I can't sing along with them, and that frustrates me. But we listened to that one, like, oratorially, whatever. It sounded good to my ears, but I don't like that I can't sing along. And then I read somewhere that this song is pure doctrine, and so I started looking at songs a little more differently, and I Am a Child of God is the same way. It is straight up doctrine, which I love. So that it's a foundation for her faith is really cool. Choosing Wisdom said, I remember learning it when I was in primary and feeling the Spirit whisper, this is truth. It helped me know that I have value and infinite worth as a daughter of God. Stamped Stories Heidi said, I remember my mom singing every time she played on the piano. I love this song, and hearing my kids sing it makes my heart want to burst. Jode Allen said, I remember singing it as an 8-year-old boy with 2 other boys as part of a priesthood meeting presentation. I don't remember really anything about it other than I was impressed on how a song I took for granted as an everyday song seemed to have a strong impact on those adults in the room. Princewood Design said this was my most requested song in primary. I'll bet you she was a pianist. I don't know that for sure, but sounds like it, right? Ivy and Sage Market said, I love this song. I Wonder Yoga said this is one of my favorite songs. And HiveandHome.shop said the simplicity but power of this song makes it my favorite. So my story, I actually used to hate this song. I really sound like I hated everything. I didn't, I promise. I hated this song because, I don't know if this matters, but I'm a Leo and I really like positive attention. And this song bothered me because how come I was supposed to feel special if Heavenly Father loved everybody and we're all a child of God? Like, what makes that so special? Big stinking deal. And then I remember it was my last year at Girls Camp, my 6th year, I think. We decided, since we were the oldest there, that we would not sleep in a tent or an A-frame, that we would sleep out under the stars. And I remember laying there and looking at all the stars, and I realized that even if I were the only person that came down to earth, just me, Jesus still would have done what he did, and Heavenly Father still loved me enough to send him. And that kind of made a huge impact on me, because then I understood. Yes, we're all children of God, but you know what? I am. And you are too. And even if you were the only person on the whole planet ever, Jesus still would have done what he did. And he still wants you to return home. And as a parent, this is like one of the first songs you sing to your kids, you know, when they're born. Like, you teach them from literally day one. At least I do, because I decided that I do love this song. Once it hit me and I understood, now it means the most to me. Okay. If you have a story and it didn't get on here, will you leave it in the comments, please? Because I love reading people's stories. And I feel like this is something that can bring us together and help us be a community. So that would be great. Okay, I'm going to tell you about my paintings. So the first painting that I did, I don't know why I do things in threes, because I guess it gives me permission to mess up if I do. This time, all three happened to turn out. So the first one is a window scene. It's a window with some flowers around it. And when I was looking through Pinterest, I just found all these different images. If I can find the one that inspired me, I'll link below, but I don't know if I can find it, because it's not really a direct copy, I guess. It was just inspired by, I love flowers around windows. What can I say? Yes, I know that in real life that probably means the roots are getting in your cracks and it probably is going to cause damage, but it sure looks pretty. I like the idea of ivy covered buildings too, but I live in Utah, so that's not really a thing here. The second one are these clouds, and I actually originally wanted some beach. I went through a phase where my favorite thing to look at were the pink sands on Caribbean beaches, or the beaches that have like the pink sand and then the Caribbean blue water. That's so visually pleasing to me. But in looking at that, somehow I came across this picture of clouds, but instead of being blue and white like all the clouds we think about, these ones were pink and orange. And so that is actually one of my top sellers, is the pink and orange cloud version, which is funny because really out of the three versions that I painted, the third one is my favorite. And that's a garden. I wanted to learn how to paint flowers. And so I looked up gardens, and specifically English gardens, and I found that one and I love it so much. Again, all of these, if I find the inspiration photos, I'll post them. But if I can't, I am so sorry. If you're like, hey, that looks like a picture I took. Also, will you comment if you know where it is, and then if I didn't post it? So anyway, those are my 3 paintings for I'm a Child of God. Thank you so much for everybody who shared and who gave their input. And I hope that you love it. And hopefully I'll get the other video of Juliana singing it this week.